Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Hunter x Hunter Volume 1 by Yoshihiro Togashi. This is published by Shonen Jump Advanced, really, which is Viz, to be honest. And this might not look it because it looks like it's in perfect condition, but this is a first printing, March 2005. So this is actually more than 15 years old, this particular book that I have in my hands right here. So some background on Hunter x Hunter. The original publication of Hunter x Hunter was in the Shonen Jump back in 1998. Hunter x Hunter actually showed up around the same time as One Piece. So this series is about as old as One Piece, which is pretty amazing in of itself. This series is not complete. Probably one thing you'll need to know about Hunter x Hunter if you're interested in getting started in this series is Togashi is very notorious for taking very long breaks and just having a lot of, I would say, a lot of writer's block, creative block, essentially working on this manga. Hunter x Hunter is by far his longest series. Togashi is also known for the manga series Yu Yu Hakusho. I think he also did a couple other series as well. And he's also very well known for being married to the creator, the woman who created Sailor Moon. Like a lot of manga heads already know that, but just for people who are more like American comics or European comics fans, just so you know, the creator here for Hunter x Hunter is married to the creator of Sailor Moon. Now, jumping into Hunter x Hunter right here, I actually was not introduced to the manga. First, I was actually introduced to the anime. I actually watched the original animation. I think it was the series OVA from the 90s, and was a big fan of the 90s animation. I know there was a later sort of reboot or redo of the series in I think late aughts, or maybe was it 2012, 2015? I forget. I wasn't really into that stuff. The animation style was a little too bright for me. I kind of liked the aesthetic of the original anime. But the manga I got into afterwards, and I ended up reading the manga more further into the story than the anime, mainly because the anime stopped after a certain point in time. But just to jump into Hunter x Hunter, right? Essentially, it's set in a fictional world, and what's very fascinating here is you get an opening page where it talks about secret treasures, strange beasts, unexplored lands, and all these things are attracted to these people known as hunters, right? And you get the splash page right here. This is very, very, very Shonen Jump. In fact, this opening in and of itself reminds me so much of One Piece and Naruto that it's kind of hilarious. A lot of times, like for a lot of people that I notice who are fans of a particular series from the Shonen Jump, a lot of times what determines what series they were a fan of sometimes just comes down to which one they were exposed to first, because all of them are so similar that it almost seems like they're copying each other, when in reality they're not necessarily copying each other, more as they're kind of following editorial guidance. For the Shonen Jump, there is a Shonen Jump house style, I guess you could say, of storytelling that comes in that magazine, right? Not too dissimilar to, say, the Marvel house style of the 80s, the Jim Shooter rules of the 80s, right? The Shonen Jump has its own style of storytelling that it tends to dictate to the creators. It's not heavy-handed in so much as they're, demanding that people do their story this way, create this character, do that, etc. More as they tend to push the writers to hold to a certain format and certain standards of storytelling that is felt to be very successful in Japan. I mean, after all, the Shonen Jump, they want readers to like it, they want to be attached to it, they want to continue getting sales and nowadays subscriber base, right? Because the Shonen Jump is kind of gone to more of a Netflix type format with online subscribers and people basically reading it on their phones and on tablets and stuff. They still sell the original magazine in Japan, but just something to note as far as like the longevity of Shueisha's publications for manga. Anyway, so we get introduced to the main character Gon, and really he's a young boy, and he catches a fish early in this the scene right here, and kind of corners his mom and shows, hey, I caught this fish that no one caught in our village. I'm old enough and strong enough to go take on the hunter application exam. And not a lot is really said in the early issues about what it means to be a hunter. It kind of is more like the early chapter here is more about Gon, his relationship to his aunt Mito, and who his dad was, etc. Right. So here he runs into his foxbat friend right here. This is very reminiscent of Dragon Ball. And we go to a flashback scene. Very interesting about manga, especially Shonen Jump manga, almost to a T. Every time there's a flashback or a story that is told in the past, they almost always black out the gutters. And I've always kind of liked that about the Shonen Jump. It's just like, it's almost as classic as the thought balloon is in American comics. You just know instinctively, just from the tradition and the continued usage, that this means this is a flashback. Long ago, before this, before what we're reading up until this point, here's a story explaining, the background here. So we get introduced to Kite, who is a hunter. He saves Gon right here, and basically chastises him for not knowing how the forest and the animals work. Hunters in this world are kind of like they're like mercenaries, bounty hunters slash forest rangers, environmentalists, all wrapped into one. It's a really interesting concept, and I actually like the world and the lure of Hunter x Hunter more than One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. I always thought the world is much more interesting in Hunter x Hunter because it's not just fighting or other stuff, and then the actual motivation of the archetype character, right? The hunter in Hunter x Hunter is more appealing to me in terms of adventure stories and all kinds of other stuff than the ninja in Naruto, right? Ninjas in Naruto are it's actually kind of jacked up if you actually get into what that entire system actually is. They're basically murderers for hire for like countries and whatnot. And then in One Piece, Oda kind of gussies up pirates to make them kind of be romantic, but in reality, pirates are kind of pieces of shit. And then I think Bleach is a little better in that Soul Reapers do have like a purpose that is somewhat good, right? Though it in and of itself, it gets a little blurry as it gets later into that series. Hunters in Hunter x Hunter generally have a good philosophy and a good reason to exist in this world. And it makes you like the concept of hunters and makes you understand why people would want to become a hunter, right? So he gets lectured, and then he notes that Gon is able to get along very well with wild animals. And this is when Kite discovers that Gon is the son of Jing, which is his father, and really the main driver to this whole series. Most of Hunter x Hunter is basically Gon trying to find his father and following in his father's footsteps. So Jing is a very, very, very famous hunter, and Gon has never met him because Jing kind of pieced out while he was a little wee lad, right? Which in and of itself, the mystery of Gon's family and what really happened with Jing, his mom, Aunt Mito, etc., is part of sort of the mystery of Hunter x Hunter. It's kind of the story of a young boy growing up and finding adventures all over this world and meeting people and whatnot. Very much a shonen boy story, right? This is pretty much par for the course, very trope, but executed out very, very well, especially for the beginning of this series. And, one of the hallmarks of the shonen manga genre is a lot of things get repeated over and over again, not too dissimilar to superhero genres, like concepts that get repeated over and over again, but it really is about the nuance and the execution of these creators, these mangaka, that really makes each series kind of stand out on its own. So, same thing with Hunter x Hunter, right? So, Gon kind of like, after his flashback right there, he says goodbye to this animal that he basically grew up with. He has a last goodbye with his aunt right here, who's obviously very frustrated that he's leaving to go follow his father's footsteps. You know, and there's a little bit of very interesting family drama that's kind of revealed here, and he heads on his adventure. So what follows is basically a weird hybridization of the what I would like to call the tournament manga, right? Like Hirohiko Araki did his own variation of his subversion of the tournament manga, which is it's basically a trope kind of started by, I think Dragon Ball really might have been the first one that really started, which is where you have your main characters, they meet other main characters, they have little silly adventures, and eventually it all culminates into an arc where they get involved into some sort of tournament-like scheme where everybody fights continuously stronger characters, etc., through this elimination sort of storyline. Each battle, you know, encompassing multiple chapters, which them developing characters back and forth, people overcoming challenges and whatnot, up into a final culmination, a final battle between the main character and the main antagonist, right? And it's extremely simple and very, very overused, but also, especially if you've never read something like that, extremely effective, especially for men and boys, right? Particular, I think that's something ingrained into to men in general, is the thrill of competition, of rivals, of great clashes and conflict, right? Not that women don't like it either, but it certainly is something that dominates the shonen genre. So Araki had his twist on it in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Togashi's twist in Hunter x Hunter is, instead of making it a big tournament to begin with, it's instead just an epic journey. It is very much a nod to the classic story, Journey to the West, right? One of the great classic Chinese epics, in which Gon kind of embarks on this voyage, meeting different people and overcoming certain challenges. But all of these challenges that he runs into end up being, whether he realizes or not, essentially a part of the hunter's exam. The very moment he decides to say, hey, I'm going to go take the hunter's exam, he's actually put to the test by the Hunters Association without even knowing of it. And the results are he runs into a bunch of characters, the primary characters in the beginning, which is Leorio and Kurapika. And they kind of band together in the early goings through a bunch of challenges till they make it to the Hunter's exam. And when they make it to sort of the final stretch of the Hunter's exam, there's a bunch of adventures too right here. They're actually really good, and I would go over them, but I don't want the video to stretch too long. And this is like a Togashi special. So Togashi has I would say, a frustrating habit of eventually reaching a point in a story where he really needed to explain something. And he usually kind of screws up, and he ends up with these massive exposition dumps. And it's not too bad, to be fair, because Hunter x Hunter, especially in the early parts, it tends to flow pretty well. Like you get a decent flow going, but you do reach a point where it's like, hey, you know, how does this actually? And then he finally dumps it on you. You're like, this is how it all works. Like, what? And he's definitely probably one of the worst offenders in manga. He will have some massive exposition dumps in Hunter x Hunter. And it's not necessarily bad, but it does kind of make Hunter x Hunter, especially the manga, feel a little bit, I would say, like, you know, B tier compared to like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, etc. Again, I still genuinely like this series a lot, but just something to note as a criticism of this series is you will get a bunch of these, so, you know, you get used to it. It's still a lot of fun. I still recommend it, but you will get these. And they finally make it to the true application exam, and this is when they meet up with one of the primary antagonists of the series, which is Hisoka the Clown. Very, very disturbing character. Very, very questionable in a lot of ways throughout the series. Also very interesting in certain points, right? And then the other character they eventually run into is this one, Killua. Now, Killua becomes probably the most important protagonist next to Gon, especially in the later parts of Hunter x Hunter. Through the early parts, I mean, he's important, but he's kind of like the sort of the loner sidekick in the group. Later on, him and Gon become truly like close friends, and it really becomes more of a Gon and Killua story, is what Hunter x Hunter eventually comes into, right? So they go through one of the major challenges in the Hunter's exam, which is this massive marathon with them basically running for like hours and hours and hours before ending up in a swamp full of things that'll kill them. And then that kind of ends the volume 1 right there. I did want to show you this. This is Naoko Takeuchi. So this is the creator of Sailor Moon. And again, she helped out with the color pages in the beginning right here, which unfortunately you can't see because this is printed, Viz style. They don't print the color pages here, so cheap as possible, just all in black and white, which is unfortunate. You could see the beautiful Copic work that she did on these. These are available online. You can catch the actual original color pages on like internet scans and whatnot. Just you won't be able to get it for in these Shonen Jump releases right here, unfortunately. Anyhow, that's pretty much the book. This is volume 1. Tons of adventures later on. Definitely recommend Hunter x Hunter if you are once again thirsty for yet another shonen story. Cannot go wrong with Hunter x Hunter. Just big warning, especially compared to One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. Hunter x Hunter has massive breaks, like probably worse than, well, Berserk has the ultimate break in that we're never going to see Miura's ending to Berserk, but Togashi takes like really, really long breaks in Hunter x Hunter. So if you're expecting something that's going to end like Bleach, or sort of progress to a certain point and then break into a new storyline arc like Naruto or JoJo, just be forewarned. Hunter x Hunter is I don't know if this one's ever gonna get finished. Just fair warning. Anyhow, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments on Hunter x Hunter? Leave it down below, and I will see you next time.